Hey everyone. Holy crap. When are Canadians going to finally get over? I don't know what the hell is going on with this country. Well, I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of hypocrisy from coast to coast in so many ways, economically, socially, culturally. I mean, yeah, we are seemingly living in an Orwellian world at the very least. I mean, come on. When are Canadians finally going to get sick of the hypocrisy or the constant shooting of themselves in the foot? Now, this particular video, an example I'll be using, is directed at you who live in Quebec and those who support it, the Bloc Québécois, who's hell bent on denying us Atlantic Canadians the Energy East pipeline, which would greatly help the have not provinces here that's being hollowed out due to a lack of employment or potential jobs. You got BC on the west coast and Quebec towards the east coast, preventing any major pipeline projects from happening, which has a very negative effect on all those Canadians in provinces in between. But they seemingly don't care. And that's the thing. I'd be all on board. I'd be like, okay, well, Quebecers should be able to do what they want to do. They are a province and should be able to do what they want in their province. The problem is, like I say, they're also part of Canada. And since this is one big country, well, they should not have the capacity or ability to deny these kind of resource projects, especially when they're the ones that seem to benefit from them. Not just in those forced wealth and income transfer payments from the have provinces such as Alberta and Saskatchewan that Quebecers, or a substantial portion of Quebecers, seem to loathe so much, in particular those who voted for the current government, but even their own personal consumption habits in terms of energy use. Headline out of CBC News, Montreal, another record year for SUV sales in Quebec as oil consumption continues to rise. Energy consumption expert calling on government to take action to reduce large vehicle sales. This is posted January 19th, 2020. So government's creating the problem. Now they're going to react to a government problem that's created by government, and then they're going to ask for government to be the solution for the other government problem. Like, this is the kind of insanity that we're dealing with on a continuing, ongoing basis. And why? Because they don't have to deal with the economic realities that you and I have to. If they did, oh, they'd be changing their tune real quick. Quebec is on track to increase its petroleum consumption by more than 30% over the next decade, thanks in large part to continuing demand for sport utility vehicles, according to a new study. The study by researchers at HEC Montreal suggests how much consumption habits have to change in Quebec if the province is to meet its goal of reducing petroleum use by 40% by 2030, a goal laid out by Premier François Legault earlier this year. In 2018, more than 10 billion liters of gas were purchased in Quebec, a single-year record, the study says. It was also a sixth consecutive year of record sales of light trucks, a category that includes SUVs and minivans. Since 2012, light truck sales in Quebec have jumped 61%. Quebecers spent $13 billion buying light trucks in 2018, more than double what they spent on cars. Light trucks account for 25% of vehicles registered in Quebec in 2013. They now account for 41%. Electric vehicles, meanwhile, make up only 3% of the vehicles on Quebec's roads. The big driver for oil consumption is the fleet of cars and vehicles on the streets, Pierre-Olivier Pinault, the study's co-author, said in an interview Saturday. Between 2013 and 2018, sales of petroleum products increased by 10%. There are more electric cars that are sold, but that remains extremely marginal. And there's a constant increase in the sales of SUVs over the last 7 years. The study gives an overview of annual energy consumption trends in Quebec. Among its conclusions are that Quebec's existing measures to reduce greenhouse gas emissions are falling short. Emissions, while down from 1990 levels, have stalled since 2014. The report states categorically that the province won't meet its goal of lowering emissions by 20% from 1990 levels. Pinault wants the provincial government to take concrete actions that would decrease the use of larger vehicles in the province. He suggested implementing higher taxes for larger vehicles or levying a kilometer tax. Like I say, folks, hey, what do you expect for someone that's contributed to the CBC? Everything they see or every problem they lay their eyes upon can be somehow magically fixed by big government policy and more forced wealth and income redistribution. These people continue to show their lack of actual innovative thinking or ability to think outside that big government box that they've placed their proverbial heads in. Anyways, folks, I'll place a link to this article in the description of the video below, but like I say, think about it. Quebecers, The ones, at least in particular, this isn't against all Quebecers. There's a lot of you Quebecers out there that don't fit into this category. But those of you who did vote for that government, or who are these environmentalists or greenies who are stifling economic prosperity, innovation, and the Energy East pipeline from going forward, well, yeah, you people are a bunch of hypocrites. And if I could withdraw any dollar I've ever made from ever going to that province or any of you people, I'd do so. And there are millions of other Canadians out there who would do the exact same. You might want to think about that. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.